Greetings everyone, this is Lodrik and this is the game War in the Pacific Advanced Edition, and today we're checking the play by email match against Jochen, the 10th February 1942. And now I'm in my vacation in the Philippines, so I have not the best internet, a little slow, but I will try to catch up what is missing. We can see here we are now just in real life in or around at the 16th February in the match. So today is a big turn, or big change of the balance of power, uh, and a big blow for me. But let's see what happens and discuss this maybe step by step. First, the usually stuff. Some smaller dot base near to Tulagi, switching the ownership. Some equipment gets lost at boarding. We're sweeping the mines here in Java to free up all the port capacity if it's really necessary, and also start cleaning Bataan after the garrison of Bataan, the Americans surrendered. And also nothing really eventful. Submarine against the corvette. Nothing happens. This is now my battleship formation. Last turn I had some cruisers on the way back to Singapore coming by, and I had not the total success here in Sebang, so I now tell my heavy cruisers, battleships to also on the way home to Singapore to simply shell the position of the Dutch units. Need a little long time. But there are some more ships here, so. But we can only shell and destroy what is there. So maybe there's not really so many Dutch forces left. I also don't want normally damage here everything, because I won't take the base and later use the base. So I was a little not too. I don't want to push here too aggressive. This kind of bases I really want to use. Why I won't first completely destroy them. If I have no other chance, if it's an island and there are American forces like in Luganville, then I have no other chance. I must completely maybe destroy the base, take the base and rebuild it. But in the Dutch islands, it's always don't try to destroy the equipment and installation if it's possible. So the sweeping of Batan will need some days. So far I know the game starts with 500 or 600 mines already in Batan. So and their allies, if they want, they can even put their more mines inside. But there is no rush for me. I must first move all my forces back to Manila from Batan. So this also will roughly need 1 week. My scout planes are finding here some cargo ships. But here you can already see the very unlucky situation. I am moving northeast, direction Calcutta, and some battle or some task force is just southwest of my carrier division, out of nowhere. Yeah, we will soon see what. So first, the bad weather cancel the air operations. My long-range Navy bombers attacking the Americans on the ground. It's clear terrain, so why not? If there's nothing better. And there was for many weeks nothing really to sink. And here I can at least create some damage. And more damage. And this would normally makes me happy, but unluckily Jochen have too many cap fighters up here, and so these are my second carrier division, my India Ocean carrier division, with roughly 180 fighters or airplanes in total. And we picking up here some enemy task force, and because there are wildcats on it, I know already, oh, these are enemy carriers. And this must be American carriers, not British carriers. The problem is, I have here now one squadron of support zeros. It is normally enough to roughly maybe handle the same amount of enemy fighters. But Jochen have here not only one carrier or two carriers. It looks like he have here a little more. So I forward this now fast. We can see here that I have here roughly 50, nearly 60 torpedo bombers and 20 or 18 dive bombers. So, but how many comes through is the question now. My Zero is trying to protect my strike forces, but you can see the amount of enemy fighters here. Roughly I would say that Jochen have to double the fighters. And now it's that he slaughter my strike forces. He not only slaughter my strike airplanes, he also brings them in a disorder, not a good attack position. I'm losing nearly all of my dive bombers, most of my torpedo bombers, so there's not really much left to strike now. And here's a Yorktown. Luckily that these pilots are so good that the first attack run can create immediately a torpedo hit. So then I can say, okay, at least something. Now the Enterprise. And also immediately a torpedo hit. So with the little strike force I have, I can create immediately something. But of course my 250 kilogram bombs will not really hurt a carrier. And now this is the only single torpedo bombers. They have very low chance to really create something. So the problem is again, This Yorktown, this is Enterprise. This is also Lexington. So, and if I'm correct, there's also somewhere the Saratoga. So all 4 carriers. Each carrier, I think always 91 airplanes per carrier for Americans. So you can, or roughly you can say 90, 180 means 360. And I have only 180. So Jochens have roughly double the fighter force compared to me. He have double the cap fighters than I have escort fighters, and this breaks my strike. If my strike would had no impact, I could maybe here sink now 2 American carriers directly. But no, I only can damage 2 carriers with each 1 torpedo, and this is not really much. And now the bigger question is, and okay, if these are the enemy fighters, the American fighters, where is the American strike forces? So most of my fighters you can written off. My strike forces are also on all damaged or destroyed, so there's not really much left. And all for only 2 torpedo hits. It is then too less. If I had here now maybe 3 or 4 torpedo hits in total, if maybe every carrier get 1 torpedo hit, I would say okay, fine, then they're all damaged. You must go to repair for 1 or 2, 3 months. But I also would say my strike force was completely shattered. So to get 2 torpedo hits on a carrier or even in 2 carriers is not so bad. But of course it's only the good thing you can see out of this miserable outcome. Now the China bombardment with small variations, so not juncture, I try to bomb some other units, because this is open field and I saw them moving, so I can maybe create a little more disabled, more damaged units. And now here's a small attacks in the northern Chinese front. Xi'an, and also bombing these units, because I always see that Jochen is moving units from this forward mountain hex back to Xi'an to strengthen his position. And that gives me the opportunity to maybe attack them. And you can see that here's the 33rd and the 3rd Chinese corps, but only minimum damage. And now the Americans coming, and you can see already the big amount of Jochen come here, not only with 70, so 120 dive bombers. Americans, they don't really have many torpedo bombers, but they have this very strong, or compared to Japanese, stronger dive bombers, I would say. and he have also a higher number than escort fighters than I have cap fighters. So of course, Jochen have roughly 360 airplanes he can use, and I have only 180. So this is now the slaughter on my units. I try to overcome the enemy cap fighters, and I can bring some down, and I can even attack the enemy cap fighters, but I'm simply lacking the numbers. Again, if I had here the same amount of airplanes and Jochen, if it's 360 to 360, we have here maybe a totally different outcome, but in this case it's now attack on my carriers, and this is a normal range attack and not even a long range attack. If it's a long range attack and this dive bombers had only 500-pound bombs, then I would say okay, maybe there's a chance to survive, but I don't really think so. These are simply too many to attack here now. So at the end, Jochen have 3 times the fighters and 120 strike fighters, and from the 120 may become 110 through. And my heavy cruisers maybe can survive this. The Suyo also maybe survives if there's no damage, but the Ruyo and the Kara are both on heavy fires plus heavy damage, and this is normally always too much, especially if I'm not in port. If I'm now in port, maybe there's a chance, but so far away from Singapore, there's no way to survive this. So it was a perfect strike moment. I was out of range of any land-based support. I also have no chance to retreat. My ships are burning and these 2 carriers going down. The rest, maybe there's a way I can survive if Jochen don't try to hunt me down completely with all his power and might. But this will normally, of course, this is one light carrier, and this is the best light carrier the Japanese have. And this is a good Japanese fleet carrier. Not maybe the best fleet carrier, but a good carrier. So you can also say this was a midway moment. Not that I really try to lure out Jochen here. I was, aware of the situation that I'm not sure, or that I didn't know, or I was not informed about the position of the American carriers, and I know that there are 3 or 4 American carriers somewhere. And I always was thinking where they are. And the Dojo game, keep them maybe at the west coast of America or Pearl Harbor somewhere to refit them and bring them in April 42 with a better radar, better anti-aircraft equipment. Jochen chose to attack immediately now already in February with no upgrade. So now there's 17 torpedo bombers to finish me up. Or finish me completely. Luckily, one of my carriers are still able to operate, and I have some cap fighters here, so I can maybe at least get rid of these torpedo bombers. And these are infamous American torpedo bombers with this super, not so good working American air torpedoes. So at least these torpedo bombers I can slaughter completely. And if it's like this, if Jochen had some issue with his big amount of airplanes and maybe taking off, and maybe only his strike force come first, and then my zeros can get rid of them. So if at the end nothing if happened. I kill the torpedo bombers, but I cannot kill the enemy dive bombers. And now you can see that my carriers are simply, they are not more possible to operate. So my airplanes trying to escape, and yeah, they're flying all here to Chiang Mai. This is just in range. So luckily I'm not here, then there's no hope for anything. Here, at least some airplanes can take off, fly to Chiang Mai, and then yeah, try to survive. And that is just a Rio go down. So the first light carrier is dead in Kaga, I think, is a burning weapon. It was at least action, and it was exactly the action we was all hoping for. And I also was hoping that my carriers can maybe find a possibility to strike well. It was just only the wrong moment, the wrong position. So now attack on Batavia. The fort level 3 is broken. The engineers simply blow it up, and then I can also create a 2-to-1 advantage. So it is a tactical victory, but strategically it's still. I destroy much more Dutch forces than I lose my Japanese units, and I can destroy one fort. So I don't. I'm confident that Batavia will fall soon. Maybe one or two more attacks. There's nothing really stop me. This is all what you can see here from the Dutch. What is left. In the Changsha bombardment. So typical bombardment was to get Jochen is back over 4,200 attack value. This time the bombardment was more light, but at least I lost nothing. And now, second or even I think the third attempt to take a Sebang, but after the second shell bombardment, first time from the cruisers, now from the battleships. Now I'm able, and not even more important for me is I can not or even or I cannot only take the base and kick out these Dutch forces, but the Dutch forces also giving up completely without I must hunt them down. So on the land side I would say everything was fine or standard and going well if there was not this one carrier battle. Good. At least I can take one Catalina with me. And all 9 Dutch forces are surrendering. So 11th February 42, and this disaster at the Bay of Bengal will shift, of course, the balance of power completely in favor now of the Allies. Before I had the advantage of air power, but now this is gone, and there's maybe not more really so much I can use to push forward. It's now I think before I mean Japan starts with advantage in aircraft technology. It's at least in carrier operational design. In the numbers of carriers in favor for Japan, but Japan's power is more balanced out, more medium-sized carriers. The Americans they have more of this heavy fleet carriers, and the Japanese they have only normally 4 of this, and they get one more, the Taiyo, so in 5 in total. So again, let's check. So air losses are super high now, 30 for allies and 120 for me. Simply this is wiping out my hero. This is all of my India carrier division is broken or destroyed. Destroyed in air to air or on ops losses. There's not really much left. I took maybe some Wildcats with me and some other stuff, but at the end it was of course the next question is also that these are all Navy pilots and they're all trained, and one out of this 120 airframes lost. 44 plus 24, so 50, 60, 70 pilots are dead. So maybe 50%. It is maybe not so terrible, plus 10 wounded, but still, these are many pilots I lost, and I also lost their airframes, and I can never replace them. And what I can really not replace is the ships. Yeah, the ship sunk is last turn. The Ruyo with nearly 180. This is a light carrier, but it's normal. You can say it's a medium carrier. The difference between a light carrier with this is 48 slots, but a medium carrier I think they have 53 for the Japanese, so 10% more aircraft capacity, and this would be a normal medium fleet carrier. And this you can really see the point values are high for a light carrier. This ship is gone, and this is already the best because it's also normally relatively fast, so it's really a capable carrier, I would say. On paper it's only 10,000 tons, but what you can get out of this is powerful, I would say. But now it's gone, and I cannot get it back. More important is, or additional to this loss, is also the loss of the Kaga is a question now of time. It looks now fine here, but you can see that 70 fire damage plus 70 system damage is simply too much. I will never get control. I mean, this fire I cannot get out if I am not in a port or in next turn in a port. So this ship will simply burn down. Or at least the fire will maybe go a little down, but at the same time the system will go up. And this is too much. The ship what I can maybe save is this the Suyo and maybe a Targo I can also save because there's only very little fire on it and the engines are okay. The floating is not too critical. So Kaga will also go down. And this is 350 points again I will lose. The next big issue is with this, most of my airplanes are maybe left this burning wreck already. But this you will see next turn, once this ship is done. The game, I have a way how to simulate this, the air wings. I have here air wings, here in Chiang Mai. The problem is that you can see, there is a part is in Chiang Mai and a part is destroyed. If I want to get this back, I must buy it back. Completely. Here. Lost. But if I won't buy this back, this is Akagi, first air wing, zeros. Then I must pay 90 points for 18 size air wing. And I need to wait between 30 and 180 days. If I want a full, or this is like a 2/3, this is a full wing, a 2/3 wing. If I want this back, I must pay 135 points. And I must also wait a long time. So, the air wings, the escaping here to Chiang Mai are more or less independent operational air wings. You can also see this. They are completely grey out. I cannot give them reinforcements. I can do nothing. I cannot reform them. They are more or less unique additional forces on the map. But I can do nothing with them. Once they are killed, they are done. They are not really air wings on the map I can use. They are, yeah. I can maybe disband them and then put them in other air wings, but then they are also lost. So these are not additional air wings I have, or air units on the map. These are, I mean, additional on the map, yes, but without the chance to really maintain them, train them, rebuild them or something else. Because the game simply say the main unit or the mother unit or how you want to call it, the number 1 unit is still on this carrier. This is this number 1 carrier unit. If this unit gets destroyed, the whole air wing gets destroyed. And that is this will be an issue because this will have additional losses on my side. I will lose here more air wings and more air wings and more air wings. And normally I don't have political points and I also don't have the time to really rebuild this. So this is the midway moment. And it's simply only too early. It's February, early for February 42. The midway moment in real war was the beginning of June, let's say this, 4 months later. And 4 months later, the Allies, or the Allies lost, and the Japanese took already Rangoon and all of the Dutch East Indies. It will completely shut down all operations in India for me in the future, more or less. And without India, you have, as a Japanese player, nearly zero chance to win this game. So you can play and continue this game and fight, but without taking Ceylon, without taking South India, without taking Burma, it is simply impossible. So I agree with Jochen to play to end of February. In the end of February, we'll see. If I don't take end of February Rangoon by some surprise, the game will be, I think, ending. And we will see what happened. Because at that game, this is the issue with, or this is always the question. If there's not even a chance for the Japanese player more to turn it around and to create a win, I would always say then stop it. Make no sense. Then the Allied player won. If I have maybe 3-1 victory advantage and there's maybe a chance to win in 1941, then I would go on. I don't say I need a 4-1 win ratio advantage to continue. That is crazy. That is the best case for a Japanese player. But at least you must have the 3-1 kill ratio or victory point ratio that you have maybe at the beginning of 44 the chance to win. Then you still must battle all of 43 to keep this ratio. And this ratio will normally always be in favor for the Allies because the Allies get more equipment, more reinforcements. It's only getting more worse. So, and if you don't have to, latest at 1st of April, a 3-1 victory ratio advantage for the Japanese, you lost the game. Or the Allied player simply only let you continue, be successful, or something like this. Good. So Sebang, we were successful, but there's not more much to say about this. This was a sideshow. The Battle of Batavia was the Dutch forces still hold the line, but they will break soon. The whole Java operation is normally a success. I am here also in the last stage of cleaning up. I would say latest 15th, or let's say latest 20th of February. I hope I finish the operation of Java. Maybe the mountain battle will be a little more problematic, but I still hope I can get it done with all my attack value together, and Java is roughly 3000. I would say this is enough. I slowly also will prepare the occupation or to liberate Tarakan and the east side of Balikpapan. This oil, I need this oil to feed Surabaya. Because I will use the oil from Palembang and Miri normally to fuel Singapore. And the oil I produce in Japan, or the fuel from Japan, I will send to Rabaul and Truk. And maybe also a little to China to feed the heavy industry. Nothing more here to say. Cleaning the mines in Bataan, cleaning the mines of Manila, and then ship this army forces around. Again, I agree with Jochen that I say I will now play more or less without any risk check. Simply I throw my units on the front line, and if Jochen can kill them, then Jochen can kill them, because I have nothing more to protect them. If I'm lucky, then I'm lucky, and if I die, then I'm die. The game will be soon over anyway, if I don't play this now on this high risk mode. If I play it now safe, I will die anyway, and then I think this makes simply no sense. There's no motivation. Of course, in reality, the Japanese always fight to the end, even if they know long time they lost the war. Simply there was a guy in charge with a gun and say, if you don't fight, you die. But this is a game, so there must be a meaning behind this. Nothing really else happened here. Luganville, you saw that I don't attack for 2 turns already, so I get the fatigue is normally still not the same, but the disorder is now down. So my regiment is now, original was 88, last turn was I think 68, and now we are down to 38. So roughly 10-20% less disruption every turn. Maybe I will attack now, and then maybe at least we can get rid of this American forces here in Luganville. At least something. The rest is normally fine. Nothing is perfect. I mean, of course, there's always a chance. If I must try here now very high risk operations to maybe at least create here something like a balance battle out of this, because up to now I only can hurt 2 carriers lightly, but that is far not enough. I lost One carrier with 50 and one carrier with 70. You can see the Kaga have a capacity of 72. This is normally what a fleet carrier is for the Japanese. The Americans, they have a carriers fleet operation with 91. So American carriers are always bigger, stronger, and more powerful. This was already the more or less the second biggest carrier the Japanese have on tonnage. It have a very good armor protection, but the deck protection is only 30, so that is a little useless. I don't know where's my other carrier. Oops. Kaga is burning wreck. Akagi is here. Akagi is similar. Akagi is based on a battle cruiser and Kaga is based on a battleship, so this is a difference. But also deck armor only 40. So I think the only ship really the Japanese really build with efficient deck armor protection will be in future is the Taiho. The Taiho with a deck protection of 95 is like a cruiser. So this ship is more or less immune against the 500-pound bombs. Very unlikely that a 500-pound bomb can penetrate this armor deck. And you can also see 72 higher speed. So this is the best carrier the Japanese ever get. It is a fleet carrier and it have everything what the Japanese need, and it's also very good to counter American dive bombers. The problem is this carrier will first go online maybe if you push it maybe in somewhere in 43, and normally it's come out in 44, and in 44, 43 there's still let's say no Japanese Air Force left to use the carrier. And if there's some Japanese Air Force left, it's without any skills. So in scenario, only to explain this, in scenario 2, at least you have the option to Shinano, because the Shinano is also here, but I halted this because it makes no sense, because the Shinano in this setup is, I don't know, I would simply say useless. It has 45,000, this is normally the third, the Yamato battleship, converted. The game not even offer you the conversion, because so far I know, I don't know really exactly, but I think the Japanese first convert this battleship to a carrier after the Battle of Midway. But here in the game it is already at the beginning of the game a carrier conversion, and if so this kind of stuff is always normally a compromise and very shitty. You can see the aircraft capacity is 47, so like a light carrier. It is slow like a support carrier. The armor protection is also nothing over great, and the tonnage is high, and inside tonnage also go fuel consumption. So this ship is really a completely waste and disaster. And it's, I mean, I talked about this before. It is the only thing what you can say is good is this it's have a super high anti-aircraft equipment. But the question is if this is really so the game changer. And in scenario 2, what I want to say is the Shinano is based on a Taiho design. So if you play scenario 2, you will have the Taiho and the Shinano, and Shinano will be a Taiho aircraft carrier. And this makes much more sense for the Japanese player. I would simply normally give maybe in scenario 1 also the option. You want Shinano as a battleship like Yamato class, or you want it a Taiho aircraft carrier. The only good thing is in scenario 1 now is you have always something you can stop, and then you get this shipyard points, and you can put this shipyard points in somewhere else construction. In scenario 2 you have nearly nothing you can stop because you need it all. So you can also not increase any production somewhere else. And to finish this, you can see that I get now in if I also put this, yeah, this are normally escort carriers. Better take them out. So I get the Unio in 16 days. This have 53 aircraft capacity. This is what I just lost. Then in August I get the Hirio. It's the same carrier, so this is together 100. And then in November I get the Ruyo. This is again 31. So this is roughly together 140. Yeah, not completely, but roughly 130 to 140 airplane capacity on aircraft carrier. What I just lost. So I must play to first of. I try to push this carrier, but in 42 it's not allowed for me to lose any other carrier more. Everything what I will lose now in future, I will not replace more. Because this is all coming first in end of November 44, and then the game is really over. So everything what I lost is just barely possible for me to replace. But it is also first replacement coming in late of summer or autumn. So I have to survive 4 months to wait for my reinforcements. I get also some escort carriers, but escort carriers are normally only... I would always use an escort carrier, put zeros on it, and then escort your task forces where you need air cover. And nothing really else. Escort carriers cannot transport torpedoes. They are normally often also slow, but fast enough for any invasion fleet or troop transport stuff. And this is normally the main purpose of an escort carrier. Maybe scouting and air cover. But they are not frontline carriers. Good. Nothing really else to say. Nothing else to discuss. We can see here still some ships, smaller cargo ships. Maybe Jochen tried to test out my Navy strike capacity. I have in Tulagi now an airfield of 2. I have here also Navy bombers on Navy attack with bombs, but for some reason they don't like to attack. They have a range of 15, so these ships are normally full in range. But again, I'm not so sure if the limitation is now the airfield 2, if you maybe better have airfield 3, if this is the issue, because I don't really see any other problem. It is not overstacked, there's no limitation. But I will bring an air HQ here soon inside and try to build the airfield if I have capacity left for my engineers to a level 4 airfield, and then it's done. But first I try to bring the port of level 3. Because so long this is cheaper and faster to build. And I also need a bigger port here in Tulagi. Once I have Luganville, we will see how this ends out. It's normally only a position I want to hold that it will normally keep Jochen busy. And I was hoping that this maybe give me opportunity to maybe create here some air battle in favor of Japan. But hard to say if this will ever now comes through. Anyway, thank you all, take care, bye bye.